Hi, everyone. Welcome to Milestone 6 of the Data and Research Methods Project, organized by the National Student Data Corps. My name is Lauren, and I am a member of the NSDC project team. In this video, I'm going to walk you through milestone number 6, which is found in document C of your project packet. In this milestone, we're going to build upon the initial analysis that you began in milestone number 5. We're going to dive into data visualizations, other advanced data exploration techniques, and altogether this will prepare us to develop a research question and a hypothesis. So let's get into it. At the top of the document, you'll see some basic information about data visualizations. We're going to explore the CDC's data set by working with some charts and graphs. What I'd like you to do is begin by watching some of the videos that are linked here in your document on the different types of visualizations that you can build very simply in Google Sheets or Excel. I'm also sharing within each of these resources some of the pros and cons of different chart types. So for example, a pie chart can be fantastic in some situations, and in others, it's just not conveying the specific detail that you want it to provide. Or a line chart is great, but it's not so good when you're trying to describe geographic information. So again, spend some time looking at the different types of charts and graphs that you can use very quickly, very simply in either Excel or Google Sheets. Next, I've provided 3 additional resources, 2 videos, and an article on the different kinds of charts that are available to you very broadly as a data scientist. This set of resources will tell you why, again, you might pick one type or another. How do you start to build like a story with your data visualizations? Fortunately for you, your friendly colleague, Matteo, has also put some sample charts in your data sheet. So in Milestone 4 data, that Excel document, there's a tab called sample charts. You can use that to sort of get an understanding for how you can begin to build visualizations with the simple data that is provided to you in the Milestone 4 document. Take a look, think about what kinds of charts you might want to use to showcase your questions, your initial insights on remote work trends. I should note here that we will be building some visualizations for the mayor's office in Milestone 9, so do not skip a review of these resources. I'm going to pause the video now, come back here when you're done exploring and reading this visualization material. When you're done, we're going to come back and do task 13 together. See you in a minute. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Milestone 6. You should now be done reviewing some of the material at the top of this document about data visualizations. You should now have a better understanding of what different kinds of visualizations are out there and understand how you can quickly and easily build them in Excel or Google Sheets. We're now going to build on our knowledge with some practice in task 13. So using some example of research questions, we're going to try creating our own charts in Excel. We're going to explore specifically the CDC's data on disability status and geographic region. So using the resources that you just learned about above, I want you to create a new tab in your Milestone 4 data sheet. You're going to build out 3 graphs which relate in some way to remote work. Come back to this document when you're finished. At that point, you're going to use this little section below to write out any of your initial thoughts on how those charts helped you understand or see a different relationship between the data points. I should note here that the answer can absolutely be no. The charts may not have helped you at all. You may not see, as a result of a pie chart, right, a relationship between disability status and region. Try out a different graph type. Again, just use this space to start experimenting, write a few sentences on what correlations, if any, you see when you try those different chart types. This exercise is meant to help you understand the possibilities of data analysis in Excel and Google Sheets. It should start getting you thinking more specifically and concretely about the questions that you want to ask So work on task 13, think about it a little bit, come back when you're ready, and we'll jump into task 14 together. Welcome back to Milestone 6. You should now have developed at least 3 practice visualizations using very simple graph formats in either Google Sheets or Excel. Together, we're going to look at task 14, where we define our research question and our hypothesis. So at this stage, this is a bit tricky. We're getting into the actual thought work here. You're going to draft a 2-sentence research question. Based on everything that you've seen so far, what would you most like to know from this data set about remote work trends? Another important point here to consider is, what could this data set reasonably tell you? We're not going to be turning to external research yet. You need to really just focus on what this data set can tell you. What is your question from the data? What can the data say if you poked and prodded it a bit more? So go ahead and write your research question down here. After you've done with your research question, go ahead and write a very brief 2-sentence hypothesis. What do you think the answer to your question is? Given what you've already seen, what do you think the data will show? It's perfectly okay to have a very loose, undefined hypothesis at this stage. Your answer can be completely off base. It could be very vague. The important thing, honestly, is to have a specific, very narrow research question. If you're having trouble coming up with a question, I've included here a link to a guide from Indiana University. I'm going to again emphasize that you should have a very specific research question in mind. Something very general, like how is remote work impacting mid-sized cities? That's a huge question. It's going to be nearly impossible to answer just with this data set. That's more of a PhD thesis question. It's huge. You will do better and you'll have a more satisfying outcome to your project if you ask a very specific question, like, is there a relationship between self-reported mental health or anxiety levels and working remotely for a few days per week? Another research question you might ask could be something like, are remote workers more likely to attend local museums, local arts venues, or live entertainment venues? Another option could be, do remote workers rely more on free or reduced price internet than the average household? So those are really specific questions that we can not only answer just using our data set, but they would be interesting to your bosses in the city of Data Lake, right? Because again, those individuals in the office of the mayor are concerned with how to prepare for and support this influx of remote workers and how they're going to have an impact on your town and the economy. So your hypothesis is going to be an educated guess as to the answer of your research question just based on your preliminary insights. It's totally fine to have a vague hypothesis. Try to have a really specific research question. So write down your thoughts here. Obviously, your research question and your hypothesis, this is going to be the turning point of your project. We're going to use your question to guide what kinds of work you do in milestone number 7, 8, and 9. From milestone number 7, we're going to start to string together key data points and create insights on the state of remote work. From that point, we'll start to evaluate if your hypothesis is correct. It's okay if it's not, and consider what your specific recommendations might be for the office of the mayor, given your research findings. So go ahead and work on a research question and initial hypothesis. It's totally okay to spend some time on this. If you have any questions or you want to float an idea for a research question, don't forget to join the Slack channel. You can ask your peers, other members of the NSDC team for their thoughts. Come back when you're done and we're going to wrap up milestone 6 together. Good luck. Welcome back, everyone. You are now done with milestone 6. Great work. This is a big milestone. It requires a lot of thinking, a lot of very thoughtful, careful work. Next time, we're going to get into milestone number 7, and that's going to be when we'll start testing out our hypothesis. We'll go into in-depth data analysis. Take a bit of a break, come back when you're ready, and we'll begin the hypothesis testing process together. Talk to you soon.